You are good with your hands. You always have been. But right now, they're just tapping a greasy keyboard in a room that smells like stale coffee and ozone from the old server racks. Your POV is a 34-inch monitor showing a waterfall of cosmic static, a green and black vomit of nothing. You're Leo, the astronomer, or as you think of yourself, the universe's most overqualified night watchman. Outpost Theta 7 isn't a station, it's a punishment. A metalcan bolted to a rock in the middle of absolute nowhere, orbiting a gas giant that's a boring shade of beige. Your job. Listen. Just listen. For what? Nobody really knows. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence program got defunded decades ago. But the hardware's still running, and someone has to make sure it does. That someone is you. For the last 437 days. You think about the line you drew, the one between groundbreaking scientist and glorified IT guy for deaf stars. You crossed it the moment you took this gig for the solitude and research time. Biggest gaslighting of your life. The research is watching paint dry. If the paint was light years away and already dead, you scroll through another data dump, the numbers blurring. You've memorized every stain on the acoustic tile ceiling. You have debates with the coffee machine. You are, in the most profound sense of the word, bored. A notification pings. Not the exciting kind. It's the weekly systems check from Central, an automated email. The subject line, routine diagnostics, no action required. You almost delete it, but your hand hovers. No action required. The story of your life. You get up, the chair groaning in protest. The viewport shows the same eternal black, pinpricked by indifferent stars. You used to feel awe. Now it just feels like a screensaver. A lonely, expensive screensaver you're trapped inside. Your mind drifts back to the academy. Dr. Eris, your mentor with his tweed jackets smelling of pipe smoke and disappointment. The cosmos isn't silent, Leo, he'd say. It's shouting. We just don't know how to listen yet. You'd nod, full of that starry-eyed conviction. What a joke. The cosmos isn't shouting. It's giving you the silent treatment, the ultimate ghosting. You slump back into the chair. Your stomach growls. Dinner is another reconstituted nutrient pack. Beef, flavor. It tastes like salty regret. You're about to call it a shift, to go stare at the four walls of your bunk, when something on the secondary monitor catches your eye. A tiny spike in the background noise. A blip. You freeze. Your breath fogs the cool screen slightly. But your hands, those good hands, are moving on their own. They're calling up the raw data, applying filters, isolating the frequency. It's a reflex, a muscle memory of hope you thought had atrophied. The spike resolves. It's clean. Too clean. Natural cosmic noise is messy, a jagged mountain range. This is a perfect thin needle. Your heart does a weird little stutter step. Not hammering, not yet. Just a single, solid thump against your ribs. Hey, pay attention, thump. You run a diagnostic on the array. All green. You check for internal interference. Negative. You lean forward, elbows on the desk, your face inches from the glow. You isolate the signal. You tell yourself it's a satellite, some piece of corporate junk from the inner systems bleeding into your frequency. You plot its origin against the known orbital charts. It's not from the inner systems. The coordinates place it deep in the Orion arm, a patch of space so empty they use it to calibrate the zero on background radiation scales. You run it again and again. The signal repeats, not a random spike, a sequence. A perfect mathematical drumbeat against the silence. Beep, 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 beep. A pattern, a deliberate repeating pattern. The air in the room changes. It gets thinner, sharper. The hum of the servers, a sound you've tuned out for over a year, suddenly roars in your ears. The coffee-stained desk, the dusty keyboard, the lonely stars outside the viewport. It all falls away. There is only the screen and the perfect, impossible rhythm dancing across it. Your fingers are ice. Your mouth is dry. This is it. The moment you've fantasized about in the deepest, most secret part of your mind during all those empty nights. The discovery. The thing that changes everything. A wild, giddy laugh bubbles up in your chest, but it dies before it reaches your lips. Because with the giddiness comes a cold, slithering fear. The POV shifts. You're not just Leo the bored astronomer anymore. You're the guy who just opened a door without knowing what's on the other side. You reach for the comms panel to file the discovery report. Standard protocol. Your finger hovers over the button, and you stop. You think about Central. You think about the bureaucrats, the committees, the no action required. Emails. You think about them taking this, your discovery, the only interesting thing to happen in this tin can, and burying it in red tape for a decade. Or worse, giving it to some team back on Earth to put their names on. This is yours. You found it. In this silent, forgotten outpost, you were the one listening. You pull your hand back from the comms. You save the data to a private, encrypted drive. A drive not linked to the station's mainframe. Your hands are steady now. Precise. For the next 6 hours you work. You analyze. You record. The signal never falters. It's like a lighthouse sweeping its beam across the dark with metronomic patience. You map it. You break down its components. It's not just a carrier wave. There's structure there. Layers. It's a message. It has to be. The fatigue is gone, burned away by pure adrenaline. You're buzzing. This is the feeling. This is why you came out here. To find the shout in the silence. As the station's artificial dawn cycle begins to glow, simulating a sunrise you haven't seen in over a year, you finally lean back. The data is secure. The signal is still coming in strong as ever. You've done the initial work. You have proof. You look from the screen to the viewport, at the endless black. It doesn't look empty anymore. It looks occupied, watched. A smile touches your lips for the first time in months. A real one. You did it. You actually did it. You're about to let the triumph wash over you when a new line of data scrolls on the auxiliary monitor. It's a passive scan of the local area, a routine sweep for debris. The auxiliary monitor is running a standard debris sweep. It's background noise, a screen you haven't looked at in hours. But the new line of data isn't about space junk. It's a power fluctuation. Internal, station systems. Your eyes flick from the beautiful, repeating signal on your main screen to the boring diagnostic readout, a tiny, anomalous spike in the station's own long-range comms array. It happened exactly 7 seconds after you first isolated the signal, and it's happened twice more since, in perfect sync with the signal's strongest harmonic peaks. But the POV shifts. You're not the triumphant discoverer anymore. You're the guy in the horror movie who just heard a floorboard creak upstairs. The adrenaline turns cold, metallic in your veins. You minimize the glorious signal. You pull up the raw data stream from the station's external sensors, the ones that listen to everything, including our own outgoing transmissions. You run across, check, your fingers moving on autopilot, the giddy smile gone from your face. The result pops up. It's not a message. The repeating pattern, the perfect drumbeat, it's a lock on protocol. A digital handshake. Your station's comms array pinged it automatically. A standard signal received. Acknowledgement that's baked into the system's firmware. A courtesy nod into the void. You didn't send it. The station did. Because that's what it's built to do. And the signal. It wasn't shouting into the dark. It was a whisper designed to make the dark whisper back. A passive intelligence trap. You didn't find a message. You tripped a wire. Your eyes dart to the origin coordinates you calculated, deep in the Orion arm. A patch of empty space used to calibrate zero. Empty. Your blood goes from cold to ice. You think of hunting. You lay out bait. You wait for something to come and investigate the bait. The bait doesn't move. The trap is the location of the bait. This signal wasn't moving. It was the bait. And your station's automated. Hello, was the rustle in the bushes. You slam into action. You kill the feed to the main comms array, physically disconnecting the backup relay with a yank of a cable. The station is now deaf and dumb to the outside. You pull up the encrypted drive where you saved everything. Your proof. Your triumph. You need to analyze this from a different angle. You need to know what exactly you just told them. You work for 3 straight hours, a different kind of focus now. No joy. Just grim, clinical dissection. You map the signal's structure against known human and theoretical xenocommunication models. You run simulations on what data a standard station handshake packet would contain. The answer, when it forms, makes the room tilt. The handshake packet, it's small, but it contains a basic system identifier, a manufacturer code, a power signature profile, and most damningly, a timestamp derived from Earth's prime meridian solar reference. It's a cosmic return address. It doesn't say, "Hello from Leo." It says, "Hello from a technological source originating from a planetary body with a 24-hour, 56-minute, 4-second rotational period orbiting a G-tip." You didn't just say, "We're here." You gave them the equivalent of our social security number, our home address, and the blueprints to our front door lock. The comms panel lights up, an incoming priority channel request. Central, your supervisor, Mara Vance. Her ID picture shows a woman with a face like a closed fist. You've only spoken to her twice. Both times were reprimands. You take a breath that doesn't reach your lungs and accept the call. Her voice is all static and nicotine. Kestrel Station. Report your unscheduled comms blackout. Supervisor Vance. I encountered an anomalous signal. I was running diagnostics. You say, your voice surprisingly steady. A lie. The first brick in a wall. Anomalous signal. She doesn't make it a question. She makes it an accusation. You isolated it. You recorded it. Your eyes are on the encrypted drive. Your discovery. Your tombstone. Preliminary data only. It was weak. Probably a pulsar harmonic. Another brick. The silence on the line is heavier than the void outside. You can almost hear her thinking. The gears turning in some distant, sterile office on Earth. Upload your preliminary data to the secure server. Now, then wipe all local copies. Every scrap. Your hand curls into a fist. Supervisor, with respect, I think this requires further analysis. The signal structure is, eyes what operator? She cuts in, her voice dropping to a deadly calm. Interesting. Don't get interesting on me. I have the metadata from your station's initial received ping. I see the harmonic resonance with our comms array. You know what that pattern matches in the protocol database. Under xenological first contact, hazard protocols. You don't answer? You can't. It matches a category, 5 intelligence probe. She says, each word a hammer blow. A listener trap. The oldest trick in the book. You didn't find a signal. You rang a doorbell and announced our apartment number to an empty hallway that might not be empty. Now, you will upload the data to the secured server for containment. Then you will erase everything on your end. Not delete. Scrub. 0. Write the drives. Do you understand the order? This is it. The moment you can obey. You can be the good little cog, Bury the biggest discovery in human history under a mountain of classified red tape. Or, what if it's not hostile? You hear yourself say, the words tasting stupid even as you say them. What if it's just a test? To see who's smart enough to listen, Vance's laugh is a short, dry crackle. Oh, you listened. And you shouted back. That's the problem. Her tone shifts, becomes frighteningly direct. Let me gaslight you for your own good, operator. There is no signal. You had a sensor malfunction compounded by sleep deprivation. You are going to fix the malfunction, file a report on station maintenance, and take a mandatory 48-hour rest cycle. That is the official story. That is the only story. Because the alternative is a species-level threat assessment that I am not authorized to make and you are not cleared to know about. Now, erase it. The channel goes dead. You sit in the silence of the station, the silence you once hated and now crave. The beautiful, repeating signal is still coming in. The silence after Vance disconnects isn't empty. It's full of the signal. That beautiful, repeating pattern of prime numbers is still whispering into the station, a ghost in the machine. A ghost you invited in. Your POV, the encrypted drive on the console. Your tombstone. Your one-way ticket to becoming a footnote in a classified annex. You move. It's not a decision, it's muscle memory. You pull up the secure server portal. The login screen glows, a digital confessional. You drag the raw data packet over. The progress bar crawls, 1%. It feels like a betrayal. You're handing over your first, born to a faceless bureaucracy that's just going to lock it in a vault and throw away the key. The official story. A sensor glitch. Sleep deprivation. They're gaslighting you for the good of the species. Classic Karen move from a supervisor who's never even seen the stars. 10%. You think about the intelligence probe. A listener trap. You didn't find a message. You tripped a cosmic burglar alarm. And now what? Something's out there, and it has our coordinates. The weight of that settles in your gut, colder than the void outside. 50%. Your fingers dance across a secondary console, a sequence of commands so ingrained you could do it in your sleep. You're not just uploading, you're forking the stream. To the server, it looks like a standard transfer, but in the station's archaic, forgotten diagnostic buffer. A piece of hardware so old the maintenance logs don't even mention it. You initiate a low, lev. It's not a copy. It's an echo, a ghost of a ghost. The data writes itself into the magnetic substrate of a memory chip that's technically already been zeroed out 3 times. It's a sleight of hand. A magician's pocket, 85%. You feel sick. This isn't defiance, it's hoarding. You're complying and cheating at the same time. The good little cog with a secret fracture. You tell yourself you're preserving history. You tell yourself someone someday might need to know. But the truth is uglier, more personal. You can't let it go. This signal is the only interesting thing that has ever happened to you. Erasing it feels like erasing yourself. 100%. Transfer complete. Now for the main act, the scrub command. You highlight every file, every log, every cached harmonic analysis. You write click, permanent deletion, 0, write protocol. The system asks for final confirmation. Are you sure? This action cannot be undone. You almost laugh. Nothing can be undone. Not answering the signal. Not lying to Vance. Not this. You click yes. The drives were a sound like grinding teeth. On the main viewer, the beautiful, structured signal from the star system 16 Cygni Owl winks out. Replaced by the usual cosmic static, the silence returns. The real silence. It's deafening. You killed it. You murdered the only company you've had in a year. You filed the maintenance report. Sensor malfunction. Recommend calibration. You request your mandatory 48-hour rest cycle. You do everything by the book. You are the perfect compliant operator. But you stand up from the console. Your body feels heavy, like you're moving through gel. You walk to the observation pane, pressing your forehead against the cold, triple-paned glass. The stars are just points of light again. Distant. Indifferent. Your hand goes to the inner pocket of your station suit. Your fingers brush against a small, unremarkable data wafer, the kind used for personal logs. You'd swapped it into the diagnostic buffer reader during the malfunction. The buffer dumped its mirrored echo before it was scrubbed. The entire signal, every beautiful, terrifying bite of it, is now sitting against your chest. The weight of it is physical. It's a stolen truth, a secret that could be a beacon or a bomb. You don't feel like a hero. You feel like a thief, a grave robber. You stole this from them, from Vance, from Earth security, from history itself. And now you have to live with it. You'll finish your shift. You'll take your mandatory rest. You'll stare at the ceiling of your bunk, listening to the hum of the life support. And you'll hear the ghost of that signal in the white noise. It's yours now, your burden, your curse, and somewhere in the dark between the stars, something that set a trap 50 years ago just got a ping back. A doorbell rang, and you're the one who answered. You're no longer just an operator. You're a secret. You're a liability. You're the guy who knows the universe isn't silent, and that's the one thing you can never, ever say out loud. The station hums. The stars burn. You stand at the window, a man with a universe in his pocket and a lie on his lips, forever waiting for the other shoe to drop in the infinite dark.